The Anambra State Government has arrested 6 suspects and rescued 29 children allegedly involved in street hawking and child exploitation in Nnewi, Anambra State. The operation, carried out by the State Ministry of Women's Affairs and Child Welfare, saw the suspect and children handed over to the police for profiling and investigation on June 29, 2026. Akahi News gathered that the rescued children are aged between 6 and 14, while the suspect, Anyigo Glory, Nwafo Godwin, Chukwudi Ofoke, Chineye Anyigo, Okudili Ifoma, and Moses Anyigo are now assisting police with investigation. The police public relations officer, SP Tochukwu Ikenga, confirmed that profiling aims to establish identities and facilitate reunification with families where possible. Akahi News understands that this operation is not an isolated incident, but part of a disturbing pattern. The Anambra State Police Command recently disclosed that within 6 weeks, the State Criminal Investigation Department recovered about 60 trafficked children, with some as young as 1 to 10 years old. This suggests the scale of children exploitation in the state as far more extensive than single operation reveals. Akahi News can report that the Nnewi rescue comes barely 10 days after police rescued a suspected child trafficker from mob justice at a hospital in Obosi, where she was allegedly recording newborn babies while dressed as a nurse. This incident points to a sophisticated multi-layer exploitation network operating across Anambra State. What exactly has changed following this report? This operation represents more than a routine law enforcement exercise. It exposes the entrenched nature of child exploitation in Anambra State and raises critical questions about the efficacy of existing protection mechanisms. Social and humanitarian implications based on this report: the sight of children as young as 6 hawking on Nnewi Street is a stark indictment of the state's social safety nets. While rescue operations are commendable, they address symptoms rather than root causes. Poverty, broken homes, and inadequate access to education remain the primary drivers, pushing children into hazardous labor. The question that lingers is, what happens to these children after the camera leaves? Reunification with families sounds humane, but if those same families send them to hawk due to economic depression, the cycle may repeat itself. Institutional implication: the collaboration between the Ministry of Women's Affairs and the Police Command demonstrates interagency cooperation worth acknowledging. However, the sheer volume of cases, over 4,000 gender-based violence cases recorded in the first quarter of 2025 alone, with over 400 judicial judgments delivered, suggests the ministry is overwhelmed. The commissioner claimed illegal adoption had been reduced by nearly 80%, yet trafficking operations persist. This gap between claimed success and ongoing reality warrants scrutiny. Legal and enforcement implications: under the Child Rights Act, offenders face up to 5 years imprisonment for child abuse and exploitative labor, with corporate bodies liable to fines of 10 million naira. Yet prosecutions remains few relative to the scale of offenses. The police assurance that anyone found culpable will be investigated and prosecuted rings hollow without a track record of success convictions. The public deserve transparency on how many previous cases have resulted in meaningful punishment. Economic implication following this report. Child exploitation is often an economic crime disguised as a social one. The rescue operation suggests a network profiting from vulnerable children, whether through forced labor or trafficking. The government must investigate the financial flows and identify the kingpins who benefit from this trade. Without disrupting the economic incentives, arrest of low-level handlers will achieve little. Government implication. Anambra State's relatively proactive stance on child protection contrasts with broader national apathy. Yet, proactive is not the same as effective. The government must move beyond reactive rescue to preventive strategies. This means investing in social welfare, strengthening the judiciary's capacity to handle child protection cases swiftly, and ensuring that rescued children receive comprehensive rehabilitation rather than temporary shelter. Implication for citizens. The recurring pattern of child exploitation in Anambra calls for citizens' vigilance. The recent incident of a mob nearly lynching a suspected trafficker reflects public frustration, but also the breakdown of trust in formal justice system. Communities must be empowered to report suspicious activity without resorting to jungle justice. 5 things every Nigerian should know following this report. Number 1, Anambra's rescue 29 children in a single operation. On 29th of June 2026, security operatives rescued 29 children aged between 6 and 14 from street hawking in Nnewi in Anambra State and arrested 6 suspects linked to their exploitation. Number 2, the suspects have been identified and named. Those arrested are Anyigo Glory Nwafọ Godwin, Chukwudi Ofoke, Chineye Anyigo, Okudili Ifoma, and Moses Anyigo. They were handed over to police for profiling and investigation. Number 3, street hawking is a gateway to serious abuse. Police warn that child labor exposes children to trafficking, abuse, neglect, and other criminal activities. The operation is part of broader efforts to combat these dangers. 4, this is not an isolated incident. In the past 6 weeks alone, Anambra police recovered about 60 trafficked children, with some as young as 1 to 10 years old. The state appears to be a hub for child exploitation networks. Number 5, the ministry claims significant progress. The Commissioner for Women Affairs reported over 4,000 gender-based violence cases in early 2025, with more than 3,000 reconciled and over 400 judgments delivered. Illegal adoption is said to be down by 80%. Please pay attention for this reflective question set for your consumption. Number 1, what happens to the 29 rescued children after reunification, and does the government have a system to prevent them from being re-exploited? Number 2 question for your reflection: why do children trafficking and exploitation networks continues to strive despite publicized arrests and claims of reduced illegal adoption? Number 3, are the penalties under the Child Rights Act, 5 years imprisonment and 1 million fines, sufficient to deter offenders, or do they need revisions? Number 4, how many of the 6 suspects arrested in Nnewi will actually face prosecution, conviction, and imprisonment? Number 5, what role do poverty, inadequate education, and broken homes play in feeding children into exploitation networks? And what is the government doing to address these root causes? And lastly, is the Anambra State Government's focus on rescue operation masking a failure to prevent exploitation in the first place? Akahi News recommends the following based on this report. Number 1, the Anambra State Government should establish a comprehensive tracking system for every rescued child to monitor their welfare and prevent re-exploitation after reunification. Number 2, the police command should publish quarterly data on child exploitation, arrest, prosecution, and conviction to demonstrate accountability and deter offenders. Number 3, the Ministry of Women's Affairs should prioritize preventive measures, including economic empowerment programs for vulnerable families and awareness campaigns on the dangers of child labor. Number 4, the judiciary should establish dedicated fast-track courts for child protection cases to ensure swift justice and reduce case backlogs. And number 5, the National Assembly should review the Child Rights Act with a view to increasing penalties for trafficking and exploitation to reflect the severity of the offenses. And lastly, civil society organizations and community leaders should partner with the government to create local monitoring systems that identify and report exploitation cases early. Thank you for joining me on this news analysis segment. I am Joseph Iyaji. Please don't forget that intensive tutorial for OAU Post-UTME, OAU Pre-Degree, OAU JUPEP, as well as OAU School of Nursing is currently in progress at Akahi Tutors in Ile-Ife. Should you are interested, Akahi Tutors is located at number 67 Ududua College Road off Sabo Junction, Ile-Ife. You can contact the management of Akahi Tutors on this number 08038 644 328. Thank you.